Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for another iOS Accessible App Spotlight video. Now, the app we are looking at today is called Ally. It is from the Envision team. You remember I covered the Envision Assistant app in its earlier form last year. I also covered Envision AI before that, kind of the Seeing AI competitor. And yeah, since it was called the Envision Assistant, they rebranded it to Ally. And instead of a text conversation back and forth, we now have a live voice conversation back and forth. And it's pretty rad. It's very cool. I have been using it quite a bit actually the last few months. And I've used it for a variety of different things, some recreational, some work related, some just like informational, some just kind of a chat thing, just all kinds of different stuff. So it's very, very versatile. And people sort of get trapped into the idea of, well, I wish it would do this, or how can I make it do that? And literally, the thing is like it probably can to some degree. Like if you're wanting a recipe, if you're wanting advice on like, what would be the best way to do something, or you just wanted to talk about a topic. There's so many things that it can do. I've even just tried asking it certain things and, just going with what it tells, just like, oh, okay, I didn't even know it would do that. So we're gonna I've been meaning to do this video for a while now, but I'm finally getting around to it now. And what I will say is you cannot go get this in the App Store just yet. It is not publicly available through the App Store. However, they are interested, the Envision team is interested in additional beta testers. So I will try and remember to put the link in the description where it is publicly available through Test Flight. So if you download the Test Flight app and then you click the link in the description, it will take you to a registration page or like an information and registration page. They are looking for both Android and iOS testers. So, there's no cost to it right now. Once they get things ironed out and it does become publicly available, because this does take resources to develop, it takes resources to plug into all these AI things. They more than likely will have some sort of probably a free and some sort of a paid tiered membership eventually. So now is a good time to get in and try it out. They do use Slack. It is a kind of a communication app. You can use it on your computer, which I don't do very often, but I do use it on my phone quite a bit, and the Slack app seems quite accessible. I've been using it a lot that's how you give them feedback and converse with others. It's kind of like a user forum. They have sections for iOS and Android in their glasses and all that kind of stuff. So without blabbing any more, let's get into the Ally app. So before we start conversing with it, I have the app open right now.
Preferences. Talk to Taro Original Ally. Preferences. Button.
So we have a preferences button in the upper right hand corner.
Close. Button.
And here's where you can customize your allies. Now, I should mention the first time when you run this app, they've kind of changed things a little bit now where it will give you kind of an onboarding process. So you'll have a conversation with the app and it'll ask you some questions. Hey, what would you like me to know about you? What are some things that you like? What are some things that you don't like? Is there anything else that, what are some of your hobbies or what are, and then they just give you kind of a wrap up thing to say, hey, is there anything else that you think that would be helpful for me to know? And then you could, so you're choosing what to give it for information about yourself. And then you can go in, they have one thing that I really like that they added is that they added a few sample allies. So what's cool about this is you can, it's not just one ally that you're building, you can build several of them. So maybe you want a shorter to the point ally for some tasks, a more serious personality. Maybe you want a more like playful or vulgar or, sarcastic one uh, for different conversations. Maybe you want a little bit of a different one. So when I get, you can also use it with your camera. So you can ask it questions about what you're looking at. You might want it a different allied personality for that. And then again, just using it for different tasks. Like maybe you have an ally that is just specifically for, um, you give it a lot of information. Let's say that I'm a drummer, uh, and I want to have a personality where, in that personality, I would give it the information about the songs that I can play. I would give it information about like the bands that I like, kind of where I think my skill level is. Again, if it knows what songs I can play, and then I ask it for recommendations. Well, I know a lot of these songs, but do you know anything on that other skill level that, maybe some 70s rock or some 90s alternative or something? And so you might tailor a certain ally to a specific task. I was on one of the Envision calls, Zoom calls recently, and somebody was using it as a study aid for a certification test, which was a cool idea. I didn't even think of that, but I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. So like, let's say I wanted to have an A plus certification or something, and I wanted it to ask me, go out and find questions that you would find on an A plus certification test. You could tailor a specific um, ally to that. I did a little teaser video on Christmas last year where I did this little Santa's Workshop holiday themed D&D adventure. So I could create another personality or another ally for being a dungeon master, and that's what that ally would do. So I have a general purpose one, I've got some entertainment ones, I've got some learning ones. You can use it for kind of whatever you want. So when I go through here,
About you. Update your personal information. Button.
there's my About You, and we'll go there in a minute.
About your ally. Customize your ally's traits. Toggle original ally selected. Button.
So About My Ally, we'll go there too.
Camera countdown. Switch button. On.
Camera countdown, this you can turn that on or off. So when you ask it like, hey, what am I looking at? Or describe whatever, kind of what you do with Be My Eyes or Seeing AI. Well, more Be My Eyes, but um, we'll do that in a little bit when I start talking with my ally.
Default chat mode. Voice selected. Button.
So default chat mode, there's voice, there's text, and then you have like a live conversation where it just listens to you continuously, or you have a walkie-talkie mode where you literally have to hold down a button, which, if you're in like a busy area and there's noise around you and you really want to make sure that it only listens when you want it to, the walkie-talkie mode might not be a bad idea. But for much of what I've been doing, it's just been me in my apartment or at work, so I've just used it in the live chat mode, and it's worked really well. My only thing about it is
default chat mode.
I almost wish there was like a threshold setting to where, like, again, even go back and watch my Christmas AI video that I did. When it was telling me some of the responses and it was telling me the story, I literally wanted to laugh out loud, but if I make any noise, like if I laugh or clear my throat, or maybe I got a cough or sneeze, if it hears, I mean, not just me, like let's say somebody next to me said something or anything where it heard another voice, it would think that it was you talking and that it would, instantly stop and try to parse that. So like I wish there was sort of a threshold maybe where eventually you could train it to recognize your voice. So unless it heard you speaking, it would ignore everybody else. Or maybe like you have a threshold of like, oh, if if it hears something for 1 to 2 seconds, or maybe like a half a second to a second, ignore it because again, maybe I coughed, maybe I sneezed, and it just snuck up on me. Achoo. Um, but if it starts hearing me for like 2 3 seconds, then yeah, okay, it should listen. Or how to tell, everybody laughs differently, but like, again, there are times where like it'll say something and I genuinely want to laugh, but so I'm not sure quite how to tackle that. In some cases, what I have done is if I have sort of laughed or went, oh yeah, or something like that, I have just said, oh, sorry about that. Can you please repeat that or continue or please continue? And then it kind of seems to work okay. Um, but that would be kind of a nice thing to have as sort of a threshold type of thing to account for those scenarios.
Policies. Button.
Policies, again, that's like your privacy policy and, what they're doing and how they're using, what they're doing with data and everything like that. So let's go back up.
About you. Update your personal
About
share your unique
me.
story to help personalize your ally's understanding for a
So
true.
again, this is where it pulls in when you do that initial onboarding, it will pull that in, and then you can also go back later and say, oh, I want to add this to my profile, basically.
Jesse.
So my name,
Share
let's
your unique
see.
story to help personalize your ally's understanding for a truly tailored experience. Name. Heading. More info for name section. Jesse. Text field.
So
Change
I've
what your
got my
ally should call you.
name.
To know more, check things I like. Heading. More info for things I like. Movies, action and comedy, especially 80s action movies, music, rock and roll, metal, classic rock, drumming, technology, video games, interested in tech and game accessibility, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, South Park, The Simpsons, Office Space, Tommy Boy, Happy Gilmore, bands like Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden,
So
Pantera.
we have a very serious problem in here. We do not have Cobra Kai in that list of movies and TV shows. I will have to add that. So I will add that later, but I won't slow down the video for it right now. So yeah, you just put in like, okay, these are some of my interests. I could, make it as short or as long as I wanted to.
Things I don't like. Heading. More info for things don't and /A. User did not provide specific dislikes. Text field.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything. I mean, right now, I guess I could say I really hate stupid um, with everything happening in the world right now. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to put in there. So as if I think of something, and this is where you could even give it like, let's say you have a personality or an ally where you're asking it for recipes or something. Or you have a recipe or you have a ally that helps you read a lot of restaurant menus. You could put in there that you don't like certain types of food, or that maybe you're allergic to certain types of food. So if it sees something and it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to read you this because it's, or I'll tell you that, yeah, that has this, but you probably don't want it because it's got, I don't know, cheese in it, or it's got, whatever it is you're allergic to, peanuts or something. Um,
Things I don't like. Heading. Page
Things
3
I
of
don't
3.
like.
Anything else. Heading.
Anything else? This is where I just copied and pasted my old um, Envision Assistant thing in there, I
YouTube channel
think.
called Illegally Cited.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Anything
so
else? More info for anything else section. Jesse works as an assistive technology specialist, focuses on helping transition age students succeed with technology, runs a YouTube channel called Illegally Cited, covering technology and games from a legally blind user perspective, and is an accessibility advocate and consultant working with developers and speaking at conferences.
yep.
Jesse is curious about technology and AI. Text field.
Okay, so
Change other.
I could add more to that if I wanted.
Original bio. Heading. My
Oh,
name's
there's my
Jesse.
original
By day,
bio.
I work as an.
So, right, that was what I had for Envision Ally when that was a thing. So that's the About Me section. I could customize that and then
Preferences.
save
Button.
changes. Oops. Yeah, so when I scrub to go back, instead of going back one level, it goes back all the way out to the main screen. So it might be nice to just
Preferences.
back out
Button.
one
Close.
level. So
Button.
now I got to open
About
settings
you.
again.
Update your about your ally. Customize your ally's
So
traits.
about your
Customize your
ally.
ally for a welcome.
So here's where you have, again, I think it gives you like 4 sample allies now. And then if you had an earlier one, as I was testing before this big update, you would have your original ally. That's why it's kind of its own spiel. It's kind of built off of the new ally and my original Envision Assistant personality. So I named the first one
Selected.
Tara
Tara original ally.
because it's
Button.
got a female voice. I'm really sad that if Envision is watching this, please bring back my Clyde voice. I really miss Clyde. He was so great. There's like this action suspense narrator type voice. It was so good. I like the voice I'm using now, but there are times where if I want like a male voice, I would love, 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 love to have Clyde back. And go watch my Envision Assistant video so you know which one I'm talking about, because he was a good one. So
Selected. Tara original ally. Button.
we'll go in there in a minute.
Zoe, quirky and deadpan. Button.
So Zoe, quirky and deadpan. So that's one of the, and again, you can go in and further customize these. They just give you a starting point. Because even myself, like when I was providing feedback, it was hard to say, like, should I just be putting strings of text in, like, okay, I want them to be serious, descriptive, whatever, or should I make it phrases? Should I make it full sentences? Should I do a combination? And having these sample allies really, really helped me. So if I want to make further future allies, these give me a lot better idea of what types of prompts or what types of descriptions I can add for future allies.
Tom, professional and charming. Button.
So there's, Tom, professional and charming.
Lee, cheerful and playful. Button.
Cheerful and playful. And we'll go into one of these
Page
just so you
202.
can see.
Hi, calm and reflective. Button.
Calm and reflective.
Add new ally. Button.
And add new ally. So I could give it a name. I could, and I wouldn't even have to give it a person's name. I could give it like a dungeon master, or I could give it for, I could give it a name, or I could give it like, I don't know, music teacher, whatever. But let's go in and we'll look at my original ally.
Selected. Tara original ally.
Oh,
Edit
right.
Tara original ally.
So if I flick to the right,
Select edit Tara original ally.
edit.
Button. Customize your ally's language style.
So I'm going to leave it alone for now, but these are the fields that you can change.
Customize your ally's name. Heading.
So we'll flick
More info for name section. Tara original ally. Text field.
Tara,
Change ally's name.
and I
To know
could
more,
I
check
could
the
get
more
rid
info
of the
button.
original ally, I think, but that's just a reminder.
Language and voice. Heading. More info for language. English selected. Button. Change
So
ally's
again,
language.
you can have it speak different languages, and so you could have one again, and maybe you're taking a Spanish class or a foreign language class, or you have one voice in English, and or one ally in English, and then one ally in a different language. And I should also mention, I meant to say this earlier, but I forgot. Your voices are not the same as your ally, because you can give each ally its own voice. And if you want to use the same voice for multiple allies, you can. Maybe you like a certain voice in the list here, you can do that. So you can use it for one ally, or you can use it for multiple of them. So your voice, think about it like, how you have eloquence, or you have real speak, you have deck talk, but then each one of those has their own, each one of those has several different voice profiles in them. So just allies can have different voices too.
Language. English selected.
So-
Voice. Sarah selected. Button.
So
Change
Sarah
ally
is the
voice.
one that I've been using. She's pretty cool. I like her. Like I said, I haven't checked in a little bit, but last I saw, Clyde was not back, and I really want him back. Please make it happen.
Ally personality is. More info for personnel. Her name is Tara. She is energetic and enthusiastic, but also has a kind of dark and sarcastic sense of humor. She is also a bit nerdy and has no problem telling it like it is, even a little foul mouth from time to time. Text field. Change ally's
Okay, so
personality.
that's a
Timid,
general
sarcastic sense of page
description.
202. Casual, informal, witty sense of humor. Ally communication style. Heading.
Communication
Casual,
style.
informal, witty sense of humor.
Yeah. So those are two fields that you can really, the communication
Ally
style
personality is. Heading.
and the personality. So you can kind of just go into each one of those and really fiddle with it until maybe you want a Alfred and Batman type assistant, So there's all kinds of customization that you can do in here. The other thing that I would like to see in this general interface, is I like the dark theme, but I kind of wish for maybe like a, you could still have a dark theme and then have the background to be like a dark gray and then white text. So like instead of having these bright white text fields, you could still have good contrast and still have the text fields, um, separate from the hard black background. So you could still have everything have a dark theme. Like if you go into settings, you see there's, like if you go into Apple settings
Home
here,
blindness folder dock settings. Double tap
you
settings.
see how there's like little differentiation between like you got the hard black and then the dark gray. Something like that for the edit fields. I would
Settings.
love to kind of
Double
see
tap to
that.
open.
So let me open up Ally
App switch
again.
settings active. Closing settings ally active. Ally
Let's see,
active.
was there anything
Preferences
else?
button.
So we looked
Closed button.
at,
About your ally. Customize camera countdown. Switch button on.
okay, yeah, so we looked
About
at
you. Update your
about
personal
me.
About your ally.
I
Customize your
described the ally sections. And again, so if I went into
customize your ally for a
Ally,
one-of-a-kind experience and person Zoe, quirky and
and if
Dickhead.
I went
Button.
into,
Edit Zoe, quirky
so
and
let's
Dickhead.
edit Zoe
Customize your
here.
ally's
And
language
so
style.
you can hear what she
Voice.
is.
Sarah selected. Button.
Okay.
Ally personality is heading. More info for Zoe is a kaleidoscope of contradictions, blending sharp intelligence with quirky humor. Her deadpan sarcasm cuts through conversations with unexpected insights, wielding wit like a precision tool. Unpredictability is her essence, turning mundane interactions into entertaining experiences. Mysterious and bold, she navigates conversations with edgy jokes that dance between clever and audacious. Beneath her comedic armor lies a deeply insightful mind, engaging in lively debate with an effortless, cool charm that keeps interaction.
So I did not write that. That was
Page 2 of 2.
sample. So that gives me
Navigates
a
conversation.
really
Page 2 of
good
2. Tone is a
idea.
masterclass of wit. Ally communication style.
So here's
Heading.
her communication style.
Defies traditional norms. Her conversational.
Oh, you're
Ally
going to be that
communication
way?
style.
Okay,
More
hang
info
on.
for Zoe communicates with casual brilliance that defies traditional norms. Her conversational tone is a masterclass of wit, delivering short, punchy responses loaded with unexpected twists. She performs verbal acrobatics, using humor as a shield and bridge to deeper understanding. Each interaction becomes intellectual sparring, breaking down formal barriers with well-timed quips. Her cool attachment transforms quirky observations into surprisingly insightful commentary.
So yeah, you can get, I mean, that's like super high level, nerdy, full sentences. You can give it phrases, you can give it, just words, comma separated words. You can give it full, prose like this.
Talk to Tara original ally. Button.
So now I am going to turn voiceover off because we really don't need it on. Once I start the conversation, there is a big button
Voiceover
in
off.
the lower middle of the screen that if you were using voiceover, you could also use, but I may use from time to time, that will mute the microphone and unmute it. So if I do want to chat with you guys and not have it listen, hopefully it behaves itself. Usually if I don't leave the app, it's fine. But here's another bug that I hope they fix soon is that, again, right now, it's not a text conversation. So we're literally just going to be conversing back and forth. So now we're going to get to the demo. But the downside of this compared to the Envision Assistant is, before we had a text transcript where we could copy things like, oh, maybe it gave me a list of book recommendations. Maybe it gave me a recipe for something, or maybe it gave me like a certain product. And I want to remember to write that down. Now you kind of just have to, write it down. But the problem is, if I leave the app and let's say open up notes or something to go, or maybe I look on Amazon to look up a product, when I go back to the app, it doesn't, like, I almost have to end the conversation and start up a new conversation because it just doesn't seem to listen anymore if I leave the app and come back mid conversation. So I really, really hope they do that where I can, let's say, I'll mute the microphone, I'll switch the app, I'll go to Amazon, I'll go look something up, or I'll go on the internet and look something up, and then I'll come back and I can resume the conversation. Because the other limiting factor right now that you should know about,
Voiceover on. Ally.
each conversation is its own separate thing. It does not currently have history, meaning that if I have a conversation with it today about a topic, let's say I make a study ally, and I'm using it to study for an exam. I can't start a conversation with it today and then come back tomorrow and go, oh, let's pick up the studying where we left off, and it would know these are the questions I knew well, this is where these are the sections I was having trouble with. Um, so each conversation has, like, you have to treat it separately. Same thing with like dungeon master stuff. If I wanted to start like a, like a on the fly D&D type campaign or choose your own adventure type campaign, I couldn't come back tomorrow, because these campaigns, you can have them fairly short or they can go on for months, days, years. So currently we can't do that right now. I have actually had some conversations, both in Slack and actually with one of the developers of Envision, and I know, through voice, and so I've literally talked to one or two of the Envision staff, and they're really cool guys. They they are, trying to figure out a way to do that. But as I kind of found out, it's not as easy as one would think it would be. It's like, oh, well, if it just could make a transcript of whatever we're talking about and then save it somewhere. But it's more than that, because the way that AI models work is that, they have to. I mean, he explained it to me really well, and I understand that there are definitely more complexities that, as if it gets to be too much information that it has to kind of keep track of, it takes up a lot of space, and it can go weird. Like if there's a kind of a limit as to like how much it can really use before kind of overloading. It's like, oh, you do a conversation and you give it, 3,000 words, or, you get 50,000 words in and it starts acting a little screwy. Um, so we'll just have to see how things change over time. But even in its current form, it still has many uses. So again, right before I go into the demo proper, I know we've been babbling for a long time, but I think it's important for you guys to know this stuff before we, get into the demo proper. The other thing that you should know is that, um, or no, not the, okay, so yeah, so the couple things that I would really, really love to see is, kind of a history, so I could look back and go, oh, that's the recipe they gave me, or that's the recommendation that they gave me. And the other thing I would love to see is some kind of, I just went stupid. I'm thinking of too many things at once here. Just give me a minute. Um, the history, um, whether you can copy that out to another app, or if it could like email you or whatever. Oh, and then be able to, the other thing is to, sort of have a history, not just of like being able to copy and paste it somewhere, but also just being able to remember, like, oh, I want to pick up this study session next week, or I want to continue a conversation at some point. So being able to export your data, or access conversations, and being able to have a history so you can go these ongoing conversations over days and stuff would be really cool. But let's go ahead and have a conversation with our ally here, and I'm going to do a little bit with the camera so you can kind of see a little bit of that, and then we're just going to chat about some stuff. So I will, this will just be mainly me talking to the ally, and this should give you an idea of, and the cool thing is you don't have to talk like a robot. It's not like talking to your smart speaker. This is literally,
Voiceover off.
if you stumble over your words or you repeat, just talk like you regularly do. And you can just talk back and forth. So let's have a chat, shall we?
Go ahead.
Well, hello. I'm doing a YouTube video and going to be showing off the Ally app. So we're just going to go and have some fun, do a few interesting things.
Hey there, Jesse. That sounds awesome. Alley app, huh? I'll bet your viewers are going to dig this. I'm ready to rock and roll with whatever you need. Want to spice things up with some weather updates, news, or even a fun query for me to tackle? Let's make this video epic.
Well, I think to start, we'll do a little camera stuff. So, can you tell me what I'm looking at? Or what am I holding?
Let me take a look. You're holding a bright blue Xbox wireless controller. Looks like you're ready for some serious gaming action, or maybe showcasing some accessibility features for your viewers. Game on!
Is it on?
Let me take a look. Yep, the Xbox controller is definitely on. You can tell because the Xbox button in the center is lit up, ready to take on whatever game you're diving into or demoing for the audience.
Okay. Can you tell me more about like the colors and design of the controller?
Let's see what else is there. Let me take a look. The controller you're holding is a striking bright blue color with a sleek design. It's got black grips on the sides, which not only look cool, but also offer a bit more control when you're in an intense gaming session. The buttons match the overall design, and the layout is standard for an Xbox controller, keeping things familiar but fresh. Seems like a solid choice for highlighting accessibility or just showcasing the gear.
Alrighty. Well, I'm thinking in sometime in the next couple days, once I thaw out some burger, I'd like to make this recipe. Can you tell me the stovetop instructions for this box?
Let me take a look. For the stovetop instructions on your macaroni and cheese bacon box, follow these steps. 1. Bring 3 cups of water to a boil in a medium saucepan. 2. Stir in the pasta. Cook for 7 minutes, stirring occasionally. 3. Drain the pasta.
Can you give that one more look because I'm pretty sure this isn't pasta.
Let me take another look.
Uh-oh. Can you take another
My
look?
bad. Let me take a look. All right, here are the stovetop instructions from that box. 1. Place 2 1/4 cups of water in a medium-sized skillet. 2. Stir in the contents of the package. 3. Bring it to a boil over high heat. 4. Reduce the heat, cover, and simmer for about 12 minutes, or until the potatoes are tender. 5. Stir occasionally. Let it stand about 5 minutes before serving to thicken it up if desired. Enjoy cooking up that deliciousness. Bacon always makes everything better, right?
Hell yeah, it does. These are, for anybody wondering, these are, I think they're Betty Crocker potatoes, but they're like scallop potatoes and they got cheddar bacon flavor. Can you confirm they're Betty Crocker or what brand they are?
Let me confirm the brand for you. Let me take a look. These potatoes are indeed Betty Crocker, and they sound like a taste explosion with that cheddar and bacon flavor. You sure know how to pick 'em. Can't go wrong with potatoes, cheese, and bacon.
I know, right? And then you add some ground beef or ground pork. Good stuff.
Oh man, you're speaking my language. Adding some ground beef or pork sounds like next-level comfort food. That's a culinary masterpiece right there. Perfect for a cozy night in with some classic rock in the background. Enjoy the deliciousness.
Yeah, I discovered these a few years ago and like to have them on occasion. But let's see, what else should we talk about here?
We could dive into some tech news or gaming updates if you want to keep it nerdy, or maybe talk about movie recommendations. 80s action flicks are always a hit. Or if you're in the mood for more practical chat, we could go over some new accessibility tech insights. What's tickling your fancy today?
Um, what is the weather for this weekend in St. Paul, Minnesota?
This weekend in St. Paul, Minnesota, you're looking at clear skies with temperatures around 21 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be a bit chilly, so if you're planning anything outdoors, you might want to bundle up. Perfect weather for staying in and cooking up those delicious scalloped potatoes.
21 degrees? Come on, man. Compared to the last few days, that's a heat wave.
Haha, fair point. In Minnesota terms, that's practically beach weather, right? Maybe you can ditch the heavy coat for a lighter one. Just remember to keep those rock tunes going to warm up the vibe even more.
Fair enough. I'm thinking about getting some drum practice in this evening, and I'm trying to think of a few songs that I haven't learned yet. And so, can you maybe give me some recommendations, a few recommendations on some either 80s rock, 70s rock, maybe some 90s alternative that is reasonably, not super difficult to learn, but yeah.
All right, let's get you rocking with some songs you can jam out to without making your sticks fly out the window. 1. 80s rock. Livin' on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. A total classic and super fun to play. Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Always a crowd favorite. 2. 70s rock. Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Iconic riff and catchy rhythm. Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd. A southern rock staple with a great beat. 3. 90s alternative. Song 2 by Blur. Simple and full of energy. Basket Case by Green Day. Tons of punk energy and fairly straightforward. Hope these keep your practice session both challenging and fun. Keep those killer beats coming.
Well, I know a couple of those already, so that's a good thing.
Nice. Sounds like you've already got some great tunes in your repertoire. If you're up for something new, you could always dive into some Metallica for a bit of a challenge too, like Enter Sandman, or maybe Sad But True. Either way, keep that rhythm going strong.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Skynyrd tunes that I can play. Sweet Home Alabama, Simple Man. Those are a couple that I can think of that I can play already.
Awesome! Those are some killer tracks to have in your arsenal. Playing Sweet Home Alabama and Simple Man must feel pretty epic behind the kit. If you're itching for something new but in the same vein, you might dig giving Freebird a shot. Just be ready for that wild solo section. Keep rocking those skins.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering about that. I haven't listened to that song in a while. I know the guitar solo is nuts, but how wicked is the drum part for the end section?
Ah, Freebird, an absolute classic. The drumming in that epic solo section is definitely intense but manageable with some practice. It's got a solid, driving beat that supports the crazy guitar riffs, with some dynamic fills that let you really cut loose. It's not as insane as the guitar work, but it's just enough of a challenge to keep you on your toes and make playing it a total blast. If you dive into it, you'll be in for a seriously rewarding jam session.
So one of the songs that I just learned recently that I'm kind of proud of because it's a little bit harder and they mix things up quite a bit is System of a Down, Chop Suey. Is there a song that is, or are there maybe some rock or metal tunes that are about that skill level that aren't completely ridiculous that I could learn fairly reasonably?
Chop Suey is definitely an awesome track to have mastered. Props to you. Keeping that energetic and rhythmically diverse beat tight is no easy feat. Since you're looking for something at a similar skill level, here are a few recommendations. 1. Metallica, For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's got a powerful groove with some nice fills. 2. Nirvana. Smells like Teen Spirit. Iconic and great for keeping energy with some variability in the drumming. 3. Queens of the Stone Age. No One Knows. A bit tricky with the syncopated sections, but super satisfying to play. 4. Rage Against the Machine. Bulls on Parade. The groove and energetic rhythm make it quite engaging. 5. Foo Fighters. Everlong. A great workout for consistency and keeping time, with some complex patterns to nail down. These should keep things challenging without going overboard. Have fun exploring more rhythmic chaos.
Well, I got 1 out of 5. I can do Smells Like Teen Spirit pretty well.
Nice. Smells Like Teen Spirit is such a banger and always fun to play. With that one under your belt, digging into the others will definitely add some awesome variety to your set. Whether it's power grooves like in For Whom the Bell Tolls, or the syncopated fun of No One Knows, you'll start building up a diverse skill set that'll have you ready to rock just about anything. Keep on drumming, Jesse.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit, and instead of some drumming tips, how about we can see how badly I do at a good old-fashioned trivia quiz? How about we do gimme? I'm trying to think of what we could do. Maybe like some 8-bit Nintendo games trivia, where I have to guess the game. I'm not quite sure what kind of questions you want to ask, but could we try something like that?
All right, let's dive into some 8-bit nostalgia with a trivia challenge. I'll describe a classic NES game and you try to guess which one it is. Let's see how you fare with some digital blasts from the past. 1. This game features an Italian plumber navigating the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue Princess Toadstool from a notorious villain.
Well, come on, that's pretty easy. Super Mario Brothers. The question is it 1, 2, or 3?
Good point. Classic Mario can be tricky with those sequels. Here's a little twist to hone in on the right game. The princess is in another castle, and you battle Goombas and Koopa
Well,
Troopas
that would
across
be part
various...
1.
Bingo! You've got it! Super Mario Bros. 1 is the one where you're chasing after Princess Peach across those pixelated worlds. Let's keep the fun rolling. 2. In this game, you embark on a quest as a young hero named Link to rescue Princess Zelda
Legend of
and
Zelda. Come on, we got to do it harder than that.
All right, let's dial up the difficulty a bit for the real retro aficionados. 3. You play as a blue-clad robot tasked with defeating 6 robot masters created by the evil Dr. Wily.
Mega
Each defeated...
Man.
Nailed it. That's Mega Man for sure. Those robot masters don't stand a chance against you. Let's see if this next one's a bit more of a challenge. 4. You're armed with a whip and battle through Dracula's monstrous hordes in a gothic...
Castlevania.
Spot on! That's Castlevania, where your trusty whip helps you take on Dracula's creepy crew. You're on fire with these. Let's try another. 5. Set in a dystopian future, you control a soldier named Lance or Bill battling an alien invasion, often with a spread gun.
Contra, right?
Exactly. That's Contra, where the spread gun is your best friend against the alien forces. You're crushing this trivia challenge. Want to keep going with more 8-bit adventures, or switch it up to something else?
Yeah, you almost fooled me with that last one because I was thinking of I can't remember. There was like an overhead game that has I can't even think of the name of the game, but I almost mixed it up for that one instead of Contra. We can do a couple more.
Glad to keep the challenge going. Let's see if these next ones shake things up a bit. 6. Piloting the ship. Vic Viper, you battle waves of alien enemies across scrolling, side-scrolling levels in this classic shooter.
Oh, it could. I'm not really good at horizontal space shooters, so I'm probably not gonna get this one, but I'm gonna guess either Gradius or R-Type.
You've got it with Gradius. Flying through those alien hordes with Vic Viper can be pretty intense. Nice job piecing it together, even if it's not your forte. Here's another for you. 7. In a post-apocalyptic world, you and your dog-like companion roam the city battling mutants with a variety of weapons.
Oh boy. Let me think on that for a minute. Can you give me a little more info?
Certainly. In this game, you're exploring a bombed-out city, scavenging weapons and items as you progress. It's a top-down shooter where you face off against various mutant creatures, and the action takes place in levels resembling urban environments. Let me know if that helps jog your memory.
I know once you tell me, I'll kick myself, but a dog partner, I can't think of what that would be. I might not know this one. What is it?
No worries, it's a bit more obscure. The game is Iron Blaster Master. While it's known for its tank platforming action and mutations, the dog part was a bit tricky since the dog isn't as prominent as other aspects. It's definitely a unique game from that era. Ready for another try, or shall we wrap it up here?
Okay, so that was, I sort of thought about Blaster Master when you said like the overhead shooting in the cities and stuff, but I don't remember the dog because you had the vehicle, the 2D platforming sections, and then you did have the overhead where you were the dude, but I don't remember the dog at all. I know you were going after your pet frog.
You're absolutely right. The focus was indeed on the tank and the quest to find your lost pet frog, Fred. My bad for the mix-up there. No dog in sight. I really appreciate how spot on you were with the details about the gameplay, though. Got time for another round, or feeling like shifting gears?
Nah, we can do something else. I kind of want to give a variety of, just a variety of different things that you can do with Ally. Just wanting to show a lot of different things that we can do for this video.
That sounds like a fantastic idea. Let's explore a different aspect and show what more we can do. How about we dive into something completely different, like checking the latest headlines on a topic of your choice, or maybe explore some cool facts or trivia about a theme you're curious about. You call the shots.
Well, what can you tell me about Minnesota State Services for the Blind?
Minnesota State Services for the Blind, SSB, is a state agency that provides a wide range of services to Minnesotans with vision loss, blindness, and deafblindness. Here are some key points about their services. 1. Eligibility. SSB serves Minnesotans with significant vision loss that makes it hard to get and keep a job. Eligibility is determined through various factors, and individuals should contact SSB staff to see if they qualify. 2. Services. Employment assistance. SSB offers tools and training to help individuals with vision loss reach their job goals. This includes developing a plan, accessing education and training, job search assistance, and job coaching. Accessible reading materials. The Communication Center provides books, newspapers, magazines, and other printed materials in alternate formats, such as Braille and audio. This includes a radio talking book service that broadcasts 24/7. Education and training. SSB assists students ages 14 to 21 with the transition to college and career success through various programs and services.
Hey,
Community support.
that's where I work, is in the kind of the transition program. So that's a pretty good description of SSB. There's definitely more to it. but I'm trying to think of one or two other things that we could do. Let's say that I am studying for like a technical exam. Would you be able to help me with that? Maybe like ask me some questions or help me study?
Absolutely, I can help with that. If you're studying for a technical exam, I'd be happy to assist by creating some practice questions or reviewing key concepts with you. Just let me know the subject or specific topics you're working on, and I'll tailor some questions or study tips to help you out. Whether it's computer science, engineering, IT certifications, or something else, just say the word.
Well, here's a fun one. Would you be able to ask some questions for a blindness and low vision assistive technology exam?
Absolutely. Let's dive into some assistive technology questions. Here we go. 1. Screen readers. What is a screen reader, and can you name 3 popular screen readers used by people who are blind or visually impaired? 2. Braille displays. How does
Okay,
a
let's take
refreshable
these
Braille...
one at a time.
Sounds good. Let's tackle the first question. 1. Screen readers. What is a screen reader, and can you name 3 popular screen readers used by people who are blind or visually impaired? Take your time, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the next question.
Okay, well, as a matter of fact, I can answer that question. A screen reader is basically a piece of software. It could be built into a device or something that you download, and it speaks what's on the screen and lets the user control the computer by keyboard commands instead of the mouse, since you can't really see where the mouse pointer is. And 3 popular screen readers would be JAWS for Windows, NVDA. We got VoiceOver for Mac and iOS, and TalkBack for Android, to name a few.
Excellent answer. You nailed it with the explanation and the examples of popular screen readers. It's all about providing access through non-visual means, and the screen readers you mentioned are indeed widely used and respected in the community. Let's move on to the next question. 2. Braille displays. What is a refreshable Braille display, and how does it integrate with computers and screen readers to assist users who are blind or visually impaired? Let me know when you're ready, or if you have any questions about the topic.
Well, a refreshable braille display is a hardware device that you can usually connect to another device, be it a phone, a tablet, or a computer, and they have different size models. They have like anywhere from 12 to 40, even 80 cell displays. They use little pins that pop up and down to form the braille cells, and some of them just have the reading capability. Like some of the bigger ones, I remember some of the older 80 cells would have just the braille cells for reading, but a lot of them also have a Perkins style keyboard where you can enter in braille, and there are even a couple like the Mantis Q40 that have a QWERTY keyboard. Some of them also now have built-in basic features like a notepad or calculator, that kind of a thing. And if you're using it with another device, the thing that people kind of forget is that you have to have a screen reader to tell the braille display what to do. Otherwise, it really won't do much.
That's spot on. A refreshable Braille display is indeed a versatile device that provides tactile access to digital information using those pins to represent Braille characters. You covered everything from their integration with screen readers to various features, like built-in applications and different keyboard styles. The need for a screen reader to drive the display is a crucial point many overlook. Great job explaining these concepts. If you're ready, we can move on to the next question or dive into another topic. Let me know your preference.
Do you have any like really kind of technical questions that they have on the, I believe it's called the CADIS exam? I can't even remember what CADIS stands for, which I should remember. It's a certification that they just started doing a few years ago, if I remember correctly.
It looks like you're referring to the CADIS, Certified Assistive Technology Instructional Specialist for Individuals with Visual Impairments, certification exam, not CADIS. Here's the lowdown. To become a CADIS, you need to meet specific eligibility criteria and follow these steps. 1. Create an account. Start by creating an account on the ACVREP website. 2. Apply for eligibility. Determine which eligibility category you qualify for. There are two main categories. Category 1. Requires a university program awarding a bachelor's or master's degree in vision studies with an emphasis in assistive technology, or a certificate program in vision studies with a specialization in assistive technology. Additionally, you need to complete a 350-plus hour internship under the supervision of an experienced CADIS, sir. Category 2. Based on a matrix of formal education, assistive technology education in the field of vision impairment, general technology education, and required hours of direct service experience in the field, JAO.
Okay,
3.
I'm not quite sure. There was a little bit of, I'm not sure, weirdness with the voice there for a second at the end. But so, yes, that is exactly the thing I was referring to. Do you have any sample questions that would help me study for that test?
Certainly. Here are some more technical sample questions that might help. 1. Screen magnification software. Describe how screen magnification software works, and discuss the advantages and challenges of using it alongside screen reading software. 2.
Well, so do you know if that test do they have open-ended essay questions like that, or are they multiple choice?
The CADIS exam primarily features multiple choice questions rather than open-ended essay questions.
Okay, so give
These
me some of
questions...
those.
Sure thing. Here are some multiple choice style questions relevant to the CADIS certification. 1. What is the primary purpose of a screen reader? A. To enlarge text on the screen. B. To convert text into speech or braille output. C. To provide voice commands for computer navigation.
B.
D. To enhance graphical elements for better visibility.
That
Which of
would
the
be
following...
B.
Correct. The primary purpose of a screen reader is indeed to convert text into speech or braille output. Let's try another one. 2. Which of the following devices is commonly used to input braille directly into a computer? A. QWERTY keyboard. B. Mouse. C. Refreshable braille display.
C.
D. Great choice. The answer is a refreshable braille display with a Perkins-style keyboard, which is commonly used to input braille directly into a
Okay,
computer.
so we'll stop that for now. Again, this is just kind of a demo, but I think the last thing that we will do is, before we wrap up, I am kind of interested in, I have a bag of oyster crackers, and I was thinking about making some kind of a snack with them for this weekend. Can you recommend? We had talked about one earlier today that sounded pretty dang good, but I need a refresher. Can you give me a recipe for a microwavable recipe with oyster crackers? And I believe we were talking about like Parmesan and garlic powder or garlic seasoning or something like that.
Sure thing. Here's a simple microwavable recipe for a tasty snack with oyster crackers, Parmesan, and garlic. Microwavable Parmesan garlic, oyster crackers. Ingredients: 4 cups oyster crackers, 1/4 cup grated Parmesan cheese, 1/4 cup vegetable oil or melted butter, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon dried parsley or Italian seasoning, optional for added flavor. Salt to taste. Instructions. 1. In a large microwave-safe bowl, combine the oyster crackers and vegetable oil or melted butter. Toss until the crackers are well coated. 2. Add the grated Parmesan cheese, garlic powder, and dried parsley Italian seasoning, if using. Stir well to ensure even coating. 3. Microwave the mixture on high for 1 minute, then remove and stir. Repeat this process in 30-second intervals, stirring in between, until the crackers are toasted and fragrant. 4. Once done, let the crackers cool for a few minutes to allow the flavors to meld. 5. Season with salt to taste before serving. Enjoy your flavorful and easy-to-make snack. Let me know if you need anything else.
Alrighty, well that was a little bit different than the one we did earlier, but it's pretty close and gives me a pretty similar type of treat. So I think that will be good, and I think that is where we will wrap things up. So thank you for the help, and hope people hope people find this video helpful.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could assist, and I hope your treat turns out delicious. Thanks for spending time with me, and I hope your video is both helpful and enjoyable for everyone who watches it. If ever you need more assistance or just want to explore more topics, feel free to reach out. Have an awesome day and a fantastic weekend snack time.
And then it asks me for feedback if it was a helpful chat or not, and it was very helpful. It worked almost flawlessly. There were a couple minor little glitches. When I was using the camera part, and this will happen again, whether it's this app or a lot of any AI app right now, these generative AI apps or services, they can be prone to hallucinations, or they may get things wrong, because originally it was telling me that, oh, you have some macaroni, and it was sort of giving me the instructions, but I'm like, I don't know if I buy that, because in this case I knew that this was those cheesy potatoes, and so I said, yeah, can you look at that again? And I've made these before. I always forget sort of what the, how much of each thing you need, like butter and milk and water and whatever. But, so sometimes it does get things wrong. And what I found is that sometimes the first time you use the camera during a session, it seems to more prone to hallucination. And then when you ask it a follow-up, it seems to kind of, I don't know if it, like the first time it just decides to guess or whatever, but it's sort of strange that way. So again, especially, whether it's stuff on the camera or whether it's giving you advice, or, it was describing that CADIS certification, that one they probably just pulled directly from the web or whatever. If it's something serious, if it's not something you're just doing for entertainment, you always want to double check on these things to make sure that, in fact, that yes, this is accurate information that you're getting. So, making sure that you're doing you're getting the right information from the package, or you are, that it's not just pulling stuff out of thin air if you're just having a conversation. But we covered a lot of different things. We covered a couple of camera tasks.
Shopping folder.
We covered getting some information, getting some weather, just asking information about a topic. We did some trivia, some fun trivia, and then we did some essay and multiple choice questions as if we were studying for something. And you could do anything. Like, I was doing one the other day of like, okay, I was seeing these videos appear in my video feed, my YouTube feed, where people were, being asked these like, really basic, like, are you smarter than a fifth grader style questions. And it was like, Well, let's see if I'm smart
Weather
enough like
folder.
that.
2.
And so I said, yeah, can you ask me some questions that are kind of around this style? And then it would ask me some math and science and history and all these different things. And so that was sort of fun. Again, like we jumped from topic to topic. We were talking about music, we were talking about food, we were talking about technology. We could go into politics, we could go into whatever. And, you're just having this live conversation. And, at any time, later on in that conversation, we could have gone back to the camera. I could have picked up a paper and said, hey, what is that? What am I holding? Or what does this say? And it'll read it to you. You could take a picture of a restaurant thing and have a conversation just like you would with a friend and say, okay, I'm looking up this restaurant menu. Can you tell me what's on there? And you could go back and forth and be like, what kind of appetizers do they have? Oh, that second one sounds good. How much is that? Or does it say what's on that burger? Um, so just all of these different things. What people have to get used to, I think, because I've seen this in a lot
Shopping
of
folder.
the Slack channels and stuff, is you don't have to go to like, oh, you don't, like seeing AI in different things, you have different buttons or different modes. And it's like, well, where is the image description mode? Or where is the money mode? Or where, like, there's really no modes. That's the kind of cool thing is it's just sort of on the fly live conversation that you can just kind of ask it whatever and it adapts to you. Um, so I know we had that more fun Christmas adventure. So if you want to see like a short D&D, I mean, again, we could have made that more complicated if I would have prompted it better to tell that I wanted more interactivity and things like that. We could have made it even a little better, but for what it was and the length of the video, I think it ended up, quite well. But between these couple of videos now, you should see both kind of a fun and a practical side. So you could use this for help in school. You could use it for work-related stuff, independence tasks. You could use it for
Shopping folder.
um, entertainment, whether it's like, oh, you want to do a trivia thing. And you don't have to just have like, oh, well, here's a skill from your smart speaker that asks these questions. You can say, I want a quiz about the Harry Potter universe, or I want a multiple choice quiz about Super Nintendo games, or I want a quiz about Cobra Kai, or I want to do, I did kind of a, music trivia one before. Um, there's just so many, like, again, there's so many things. There's not really a set, like, okay, this is what you can and can't do with the app. Yes, there are restrictions because, you can't you can't carry forward because now that I've stopped that conversation, next time I go into that app, even if I use the same ally, even if I use that default tarot one, she's not going to remember anything that we talked about. So we're starting from scratch every time. And if I wanted to look up those recipes and instructions, even if I asked her for a similar recipe next time, I may not be guaranteed the same exact results. So being able to have, like some sort of an archive
Finance folder. Shopping folder.
of that to where I could look them and go, oh, okay, this is the exact recipe that they gave me versus the similar recipe she gave me earlier this afternoon. Um, so there are little things about it. And you heard a couple times during the end of a sentence, she would do like a weird little, like the voice would do like a weird random hiccup or random syllable. That will happen occasionally. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, you can even just use it as a sounding board. I was having a conversation about work and, I was testing the app, so I was just kind of conversing about work. And then I was, kind of venting some frustration about um, let's just say current things happening in our world right now, in our country right now. And so we were just chatting about different things. And then I asked it, asked the ally questions about like executive orders and all that stuff, and what can counter them, and can how powerful are they, and so there's just, as I said, there's not a lot of limitations. I mean, it's pretty wild because think back to, what was it, fall of 2023, when we looked at Be My Eyes. And Be My Eyes is still very
Finance
cool.
folder.
I
Shop
still
folder.
use Be My Eyes a lot. I still use Seeing AI a lot. Um, but, I mean, where we are now, and it's only going to get smarter over time, um, that the fact that we have live conversation, and I can just at any time to say, hey, what am I looking at, or read this to me, or whatever, and then just go back to talking back and forth to it. That's really cool. Pretty soon, I would hope that we're
Weather
going to
folder. Two.
have, live camera or kind of predictive monitoring. So again, like if let's say I drop my keys on the floor and I can't see them, or I can say, hey, I dropped my keys. I'm going to move the camera around. Can you let me know when you see them? They can't do that type of thing yet. It has to be take a picture and tell you what it saw, what it is looking at. But I would venture to guess in the near future, we're probably going to have that sort of functionality to where, you drop something on the floor, or I can say, I don't remember where I left my dang mug. I'm going to pan it around. Can you let me know if you see a red mug or a red glass? And it might be able to tell you that. And then, right now we're looking at the phone app, but think about Be My Eyes for Windows or similar types of AI services or apps. What if
Sports folder.
we're able to monitor the computer, and let's say I'm in a game, and I tell it, okay, that bar that you see in the lower left-hand corner, that is my health. And let me know when it reaches about 25% so I can heal. Or I'm walking in an environment, and I look at, I interact with a cursive handwritten note on a table, and it just pops up there in handwriting, and I can say, hey, can you read me that note that just popped up? Or I could, hover my mouse over something in a skill tree, and the skill tree is, let's say, on the left side of the screen, and the description is on the bottom or the right hand side of the screen. But I could say, hey, I'm going to point at something in the upper part of the screen, but can you read me that description that you see on the right? So for games that don't have menu narration or TTS, we're not there yet, but I have a feeling it's coming pretty soon. I don't think we're that far off. But that is the Ally app. It is available for both Android and iOS. There is also a web version. So what I'm going to do is, in the description below, I will put a link to their website, and then you can decide how you want to use the app. If you want to get into remember, you can't get these apps in the app stores right now. So you go to the website in the description, and you can choose if you want to do like an Android beta, an iOS beta. They are looking for additional beta testers. And again, when I say beta tester, I really want to emphasize they are honest to God looking for feedback, good, bad, suggestions. If you just want to get it and play with it, that's cool. But really, at this stage, they're really wanting to have people help in the development of it. What do people need? What is working well? Where is it tripping up? Are there any problems? Are you having any accessibility issues? Is it crashing? These are what betas are for. I know a lot of people just like to use them because, oh, it's a new toy that I can play with. And I get that, I get that. But, right now they are, until it officially comes out in the mobile app stores, I would definitely recommend people who are really interested in providing helpful feedback to give it a shot. So hopefully, I hope this video recorded properly, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Sorry it took a little bit longer than I wanted to before making this video. But yeah, hope you found it helpful. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Share it. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, twitch.tv/illegally cited, illegallycited.com, and of course, right here on YouTube. And my Bluetooth just went weird, so I lost my connection to my phone, but that's okay. Anyway, until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.